Hello, bonjour, and welcome to the unofficial PopCast, a podcast about the golden age of PopCap games by two guys who were there at the time. I'm Steve Notley.
And I'm Isaac Aubry, and as always, and I've said it a million times, we don't represent EA or PopCap under EA or any of that business. We're just talking about the good old days in the 2000s of PopCap and what we were working on back then.
Hence the unofficial. So, Isaac, what are we doing this week?
This is part two of an interview with Jeff Weinstein and Tysen Henderson. They were a duo of the old PopCap world who worked on everything from Astro Pop to Bookworm Adventures and beyond. And they've got lots of stories to tell from the old days. And,
Older than either of us. So,
exactly.
real hardcore PopCap originals. So, with that, let's just get right into it. Previously on the unofficial PopCap PopCast.
It was my first job, right? And so I'm like all these other artists that have worked all these different places. They worked at, Sprout before that, and Wally had, how I don't know how many other jobs he had before that. And now this 20-nothing-year-old kid's supposed to like be your manager. And
well, no one gave you any shit for it, though.
But they also, I'm sure they didn't give you any training for it either. I mean, this is, I was older than you guys at that point, but
you still are older than us.
I suppose that's true. Yeah, I've always been older than you guys.
Yeah,
but this whole notion of a person is good at their job, but once they rise to a certain level in their job, the only way that they can get promoted is to move in a managerial track, even though management is a completely different set of skills. And quite often you end up with people who are very good in their role, but are terrible managers. And yet, and like PopCap at that time having, because at this point you would have been there for several years. You were quite senior at PopCap at that point. So the natural thing would be to just kind of shove you guys into these management positions unless you very specifically resisted and said, I don't want to do this, right?
Let me be perfectly clear, Steve. I was never a candidate for that track. Ever.
Well, and neither was I, right? I mean, I think so, but it's kind of, I suppose in a way I should be kind of insulted that I was never
considered
worthy of having responsibility. But on the other hand, I'm grateful that I was never shoved into that kind of position if I didn't want to be. I wanted to just keep doing the thing that I was actually doing and good at.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it sounds cool because you get paid more, but then you stop being able to type. In my case.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about I think PopCap overall though, and casual games overall is, we were talking about little teams formed one way or another, that just needed to have sort of the right disciplines on the team. Someone's got to do some art, someone's got to make it work and actually program and make the game. Someone's got to plan and keep the wheels moving. And so, the teams would be made up of people that had multiple skills. And I think along with, especially when it got Astropop a little bit, but then further on down the road, I think more and more they trusted us as a duo and Bookworm Adventures.
Yeah, Astropop was the first one. You're right. That was when we started actually being trusted with some game design shit.
Yeah, and so they kind of had, I guess maybe that's where it came from. We're like, okay, well, they can run their own show. Maybe they have a little bit of that not quite management, but at least
we can manage ourselves. We can manage ourselves, basically.
I'll dare say, like, Tysen kind of does have a calm demeanor and kind of a professionalism. Not to just kiss your ass here on the, but I mean, you definitely you come across as a little more adult than a lot of us lunatics around the office at the time.
Yeah. At the time, okay.
Yeah.
But it
not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah,
that's my way of saying I've grown up since then, but maybe not. Maybe not.
People literally look up to you, so that helps, right?
Exactly.
I'm right here. I'm up here. Yeah.
Don't let it go to your head, though. Don't let it go to your head.
Don't.
Well, so because one of my big memories when I was sort of feeling out PopCap at the beginning is I came and visited and hung out for a few days at Jason's invitation. He was sort of trying to get me to come up move down and be the newsletter guy. And so I was like, I just came and hung out at the office for a few days just to sort of get a feel for things. And you guys were at the very early stages of Bookworm Adventures to the point where I spent like an afternoon just going, okay, well, I'll draw some monsters, like for one of
Fucking
these
love
early
that
levels
game.
that you guys were working on, or one of the early chapters and stuff. So I don't think, I mean, none of that art ever got used, but I remember kind of coming in very early on, and so now,
I
so tell me,
remember that. I remember you being there. I was like, "Angry Flower Guy's here? What?" Because I knew it was
Yeah.
it was just like, all right,
What?
I'll
Remember
I'll do
yelling
some
at I remember
doodles.
yelling at you for breaking the Lua files. I'd be like, Steve, you broke the fucking Lua files.
Well, there's plenty more, but like, because so of course, like, Bookworm wasn't you guys, right? The original Bookworm was
Base
It was
Not
Nick.
him.
Wally. Huh?
Nick.
It was Nick.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, Nick
Nick.
Ryan,
Newhart. Yeah,
Jason,
yeah,
went
yeah.
hard,
Get it? I've
Nick
never
Newhart.
considered that to be and I don't think I've
That
ever
was the
met
original.
Nick, right? Like, I just heard about him, but I think he was gone by the time I arrived.
He worked for us for a while.
He
And
was
like,
there
did
for
it.
probably my first 6 months. I remember Nick.
Where
Definitely.
else? He worked
Alright.
somewhere cool too. Like, I remember, like it was a Monolith or something. Was it?
Yeah,
that? I
that
forgot.
sounds right.
He worked for somewhere. Yeah, it was like really. I forgot. He had some cool story about it.
and like, so because
But
Bookworm. Oh, go ahead. You're
in
gonna say,
case you wanted a mini anecdote, I
yeah.
remember Bookworm was like, "Hey Tyson, we need a character for Bookworm," and I was like, "Okay,
How about a
word
bookworm?
game. Who cares? It's not going to do anything." All right, and so I
Right.
quickly drew like just this worm that I had in my head because it was a cliche classic bookworm, a worm with like kind of his nerdy, right? Like
There he
that's
is
on
in the
my
back of
whiteboard
your.
behind
Yep.
I
me.
was gonna
Okay,
say it's on the
scratch for it.
whiteboard right there, folks.
Yeah,
Let's see.
PopCap.
PopCap.
That's for you, Steve.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, so I just had this image in my mind from this like used bookstore that I lived next to when I was a kid, and so I just drew this thing and handed it over. Like, this will never be a character or thing that is that like it's just a one-off. It was, and then they put it into a game, and later they're like, "Hey, could you animate it now?" I'm like, "Oh, you're still using that sketch, that character?" So that's about how much I was on Bookworm.
See, I think
I love that you created
Yeah.
Lex.
Yeah.
because if I was digging through some of my super old files, and I think I found, because I remember Jason actually asking me, "Hey, like, try," because before I went down and moved and actually became like a full-time employee, I was doing these little weird oddball one-offs for PopCap back in Edmonton, right? I would be writing stuff for PopQuest, or I'd design the big money, guy, or the
Big
main
money.
the Mummy Maze title page, or stuff like that. And so there's a drawing, and I'll put it up when I find it, of a, because he was like, we're making this game called Bookworm, so make like a hungry worm, and and it looks like a demented tapeworm. He's like, with like,
Demented
a little
tapeworm.
bib, and he's got little
They're
arms
like,
and legs
my
no.
holding like a knife
God.
and fork. So I was just like, super did not
I gotta see this.
grasp
I
the
can't wait.
idea.
The
Yeah,
I have
original
an
like-
image
Lex.
in my head. You know what?
So
The image
maybe-
in my head is from like do you remember Tyson? I think I maybe showed it to you. That music video by Qbert, DJ Qbert's Wave Twisters.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the scene with the red worm, right?
The
It's the
red
red worm growing
worm.
out of the little child's belly button. He's like, "I am the red worm."
Where do you come from? Intruder. I repeat, who are you? I am the Red Worm.
And it's like a DJ special, which I
No.
can't
Oh,
make the
I'm
sound of.
I'm
Yeah,
writing that down.
you gotta look at DJ Qbert's Wave Twisters games. That
Okay.
is
I
absolutely
remember
fucking classic.
that. So thanks.
DJ
Jeff.
Qbert's Wave Twisters.
talk more
It's
often.
45 minutes. I have the VHS, but it exists on YouTube.
VHS.
Yeah, the whole thing's on YouTube. Go watch it.
So maybe Stephen, shortly after that, they were like, maybe we should ask someone else to do a sketch. Is that what-
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean,
So
but
we
then,
got
but like,
Tyson.
but like when I showed up, I mean, Bookworm was out, right? And it was like a pretty well, you could see that the craft level of the PopCap games was getting better, right? Like, if you compare something like Seven Seas or Mummy Maze to Bookworm, like, Bookworm is much more more polished, more chrome, and we've got a brand, and that brand is like high quality art, and everything looks just super snappy and great. Even though I gotta say, like, I don't like the original Bookworm that much as a game. Like, it looks fantastic, but I just find it very frustrating to play, because you're just kind of like, nope, 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 nope. Like,
Had to connect,
you're
right?
locked into this.
So you learn how to
you've got
spell. It's pretty
an
rough.
offset grid of
I'm really
letters
bad
that
at
you're
it, too.
trying to find you're trying to find a worm your way through the
Right.
letters that are there. And so it's interesting that then at some point where it's like, okay, so then could you tell me a little bit about, like, how did the idea come to, let's follow up Bookworm but this time it won't have the same gameplay, right? A lot of
Yeah. It
fundamentally
won't be
different
Bookworm,
gameplay.
though. It'll be completely not related to Bookworm.
Well, but
It'll be a worm.
A worm. And,
Yeah.
but it was. I mean, that's the thing. It was like it was young Lex, right? Like in Bookworm, the
Yeah,
Lex is sort of an
maybe.
older,
That was kind of
like.
the story.
I never thought of him as young Lex, though. No one called him young Lex, did we?
Well, I always viewed him as kid, like a teenager, a youth.
He was all
Why's my
he's
camera
that
zooming?
And his
character.
proportions are much cartoonier and more Disneyfied than
or Veril.
the worm. Go back and look at the original Bookworm. He's a
Okay.
much more adult looking worm.
Yeah, he's got
Adult
extra
looking.
Yeah,
He's got like a six pack. He's been working out and stuff.
for real.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does.
Where's the weight
5
room?
o'clock
it's-
shadow.
but it's kind of an interesting. So I want to
5 o'clock
know
shadow.
like how much you guys can tell me about like how the idea of like, okay, let's do another Bookworm, but this time it will be a different mechanic. It's like a boggle style thing where you've just got like a grid of 4 letters and you can pick and you can spell words, and also it will be this sort of adventure RPG thing, right, where you're actually battling monsters. So totally different game concept, right? So where did that how did that come to pass? Like whose idea was that? Or what do you remember of it?
Gosh.
You take
Was
this
this
one,
another
Tyson.
just Jason thing or
Jason was always involved, but by then I think again we
Was it
as I said
Soup
earlier,
Bear?
I don't know why I think it was more
I don't
Soup Bear.
remember. Yeah, I think that was because that's right. Because Super was the one that we worked on that from end to end.
Yes, Soup Bear was there with us. We still needed at least one
With
adult
justice.
on our team to get us across the
Yes.
finish line. But yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly how did we decide? Okay, now this is RPG. We want to have
No, it was
long
Jason
form, we
because
wanted to
Jason
have
had some
progression.
mock-ups.
Huh?
Yeah, Jason had mock-ups. I remember Jason had some mock-ups. In
There's
my
some
head, I
fighting
can literally
involved.
see him.
Okay.
Yeah, he drew that Medusa chick, the green one. She was green. It was the 2D art animation strip. She was on the right side of the screen, and
Gorgon
it was like you fought
yeah.
Medusa. The Gorgon was the first one.
Mhm.
So
I mean,
there was a
yeah.
mock-up. Jason had an idea of like,
What if it looked
fighting
like
each
this?
other.
Make a game that looks like this.
yeah,
Well, yeah, if you just see a screenshot of Bookworm Adventures and if no such game had ever existed before, I think if you just see that screenshot, it just comes on like a light bulb. It's like, oh wow, this is going to be really fun, right? Like I can spell words, and
Right.
the words are my attacks. And you've got these RPG elements, like I'm leveling up. I've got like different things that I can equip. I've got these potions that I
So
can
those
use.
parts, though,
Status effects.
I don't think those were part of the mock-up. I think there was just the worm, the Gorgon, and then tiles.
yep. It was
And
a very
basically,
simple.
hey, make Bookworm, but then when you
Yeah.
spell words, you fight. So it was
Yeah.
at the first, it was meant to be Bookworm, the original
It was like
Bookworm.
Mortal Kombat, but spelling.
Yeah.
Right. It could have
And I
been
think-
called like Bookworm Battles or something.
Yeah,
Right.
it probably
But
was for a minute too.
And then I think, like as there often was, we got a lot of leeway to just prototype a bunch of stuff for a while. And I think there was even correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but there were times when the grid was different sizes, 4x5, 4x6.
Yeah, we
Sometimes
tried different layouts.
The letters had to connect for a while, and then they didn't.
Yes,
And
we did like
lot
a
of it's
staggered
like-
thing. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I look like a little puppy, but it's like we did like a little staggered effect.
Mhm.
Stagger effect.
Yep.
Well, and see, this is where that kind of like just prototyping and iteration and so on, just it's everything, right? Because if it had insisted on that linking the letters thing, it would have sucked, right?
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
need to
It
have
wasn't
that
fun.
freedom.
literally good
to-
stuff.
It was.
Uh,
I had the biggest problem with it because I'm like shitty at these spelling games. I'm like I like 3-letter words, sometimes 4, right? And the staggered thing just like threw off my brain. I was like, I don't like this.
Well, and they
It was
didn't
just
they
like,
didn't want to
ugh.
ruin the possibility of making Bonnie's bookstore. So save it for
Right.
that and do
Right, what's
something
that
different.
for someone else to?
We don't want to
figure out
ruin
that.
Bonnie's bookstore.
Yeah. I don't know why 4x4 felt right. I think it just had to do with honestly like the screen dimensions. Because didn't you like have some fancy way of dividing the bottom part of the UI and stuff? And it just, I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at the
It
grid,
does-
it's like
it
given the
does,
amount of
yeah.
space.
It breaks
It's just
down
kind of like a
very
beauty law or
nicely
something.
into like a top half and a bottom half. That bottom half then breaks very nicely down into thirds,
Yep.
and that
Which
and
leaves
that,
you with only
yeah.
a fixed amount of space. So
and so you've got a
It's like,
nice
yeah.
like sort of battle area, and then of course like this is like hugely, and again this is me coming into PopCap, and one of my big stories about it is like I was hired to do the newsletter, but then within the first week, Jason was like, "Hey, these guys are working on this like book spelling kind of RPG game, but they're still early on. You got to come up with like a bad guy, like an overarching bad guy for the whole game,
That's right.
right?" Because Jason's idea was like maybe it could be like I can't remember the name of the dude. There's some dude who's like the world's worst novelist. He's the person who wrote the novel that has like that begins. It was a dark and stormy night.
Bulwer Lytton.
Yeah, there we go. So that was Jason's idea.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be Bulwer Lytton would be the bad guy, and it's like I think we can come up with something better than that.
Oh, thank you for joining the team.
Even though it was like such a
Spared us with terrible
obvious
things.
kind of thing where it's like, well, he's a worm, so what's like a natural enemy of a worm? It's like a bird, and then it's like, oh, like maybe we can have him kind of be like Lex's mentor, and then he can be this sort of tall stork, and he'll have this cool like kind of word related name like Professor Codex, and he'll sort of look like the first Doctor, right? So that was me jumping into the creative pool of PopCap like in the first week of just going, okay, I got it. Here's the bad guy. It's Professor Codex. Here's a drawing. Like this is what he looks like.
Yes.
He's Lex's boss.
And that's the only thing it could have been. That is the only thing it could have been.
So big praise for that character, because I love Professor Codex. I love the pen also as being, spoiler alert, also a villain. But one of the things that I remember very fondly was you also wrote all of the comical dialogue that all the
Yes, that was
and
the best dialogue.
We would put them in, and sometimes we'd love Jeff and I, of course, would love.
Oh my god!
But then we had to think again, like this is going to be for kids and moms. Can we really put this guy that says, "I am the cream of Trojan manhood"?
Right.
Yes, that was the cream of Trojan manhood.
That one.
The very first guy you fought.
Etched in my memory forever. Yeah,
Steve,
I think I wrote the bug on that one.
Controversial statement as the first character you fight.
I
don't know. I don't know how we got that through.
We didn't. It was eventually removed, but I think it was in build long enough that people could see the potential of
I have the real
the humor of it. And because I remember I was there and I was like, I think like Bookworm Adventures, so I'd come up with Professor Codex, and then again I think this was a Jason thing where he was like, well, hey Jeff, can you come up with a system whereby they can have little word balloons appear, right? Like in between their moves and
so they would basically like smack talk with you.
Yeah, exactly. And once it was, and then you said, yep, we can do that. Like we can have little word balloons, and we can set like different sort of triggers for when the balloons are
set where the tail is on the the balloon. It'd be like dynamically resized.
Whether Lex is talking or the villain is talking and all that kind of stuff. And then Jason, that was one of the first things I had to do is like, okay, now fill these with jokes, right? Like just
those were hilarious, man.
And it was like, and that was my first introduction to like Lua, because now it's just like, okay, we just got all these Lua scripts.
Oh, it showed, Steve.
That's, but it was also just such a thing about like getting a feel for game timing and like, well, comedic timing and writing in games. You know, it's just like they have to be short. You know, like 5 words is a lot of words.
Right.
8 words is probably too many. And like like whether the the word balloon comes up after your turn, or because the way you'd set it up, it could happen either after your turn or the monster's turn. Right. And I had a bunch of stuff for both, but in play testing, I started to realize, you know, it kind of sucks when a balloon pops up after your turn because it's like you attack, then there's a word balloon. It could be Lex saying something, or it could be the monster saying something, but then you're just sort of looking at it and you have to wait for it to either kind of disappear on its own, or you can click to get rid of it, but then you have to click and then the monster takes its turn, right? And so having that little pause and or you have to click just meant that it was getting in the way. Whereas
that was a little controversial. I remember we were like, there was a little bit of a debate about that.
Yeah, but then it was just like, okay, so then what it means is, but that it didn't feel that way the other way around. Now, if the monster attacks, then comes back, and then there's a word balloon. Okay, well, the game isn't waiting anymore. You don't have to wait for the balloon to go away. If you want to just start spelling, you can, right? Nothing's stopping you. You're not having to wait. You're not having to click to get rid of the balloon or wait for the balloon to disappear before the game then takes its turn. And so all of a sudden it was just like this very subtle thing. And it was like the difference between one click, but all of a sudden it's like,
There's a huge. It felt
this
totally
feels
different.
good and this doesn't. So we're just going to not ever have any dialogue after your turn. And what that meant was that it shaped the kind of dialogue you would have, because it would always be him being
It's like he just got hit in the face. He's like,
yeah.
He's like, what the fuck, right? You're like,
so it just had this sort of effect on like how Lex was characterized as just going, oof, ow, like rude, like I'm blind, I can't call the police, like stop it.
A lot of him praising himself. He's like,
right,
good job.
Right, nice.
And as opposed to like if it was like you attack and then you say something, it'd be much more sort of like in your face, like take that, like suck it.
It's
like,
not as fun. Plus, if you do it the other way, then each enemy gets its own flavor, right?
Exactly. And then like doing things like and you had to be very careful about tweaking like how often a balloon popped up. Like, because if it happened too often, you just sort of buzz out, you wouldn't think about it. But you try to make it so that maybe there'd be like maybe 2 balloons per encounter over a course of like maybe 3 or 4 back and forths, so that it would always be a little bit of a surprise, right? We could randomize it such that there was a certain amount of play in how frequently it would pop the balloon, and that way it just felt more organic, right? It didn't feel like every single time. And also it meant that the dialogue could go further, right? You weren't trying to fill every little space with jokes. And so if rather than trying to fill every space with a joke, it's just like there's this space and then every so often a joke pops up, it just feels much more natural, right?
Yep.
Totally.
It's just way funnier. It's like basically comedic timing, essentially.
And these were all things that I learned through working with you guys on Bookworm Adventures, right? Was just like working that out at the same time as anybody else, just kind of looking at these situations and trying and kind of becoming sensitive to just how small a thing could affect the player experience, right?
Yeah. So like you would just sometimes have to nudge these, like that's off by a pixel. Like, oh yeah, you're right.
Or just a half second or something. Yeah, these tiny little adjustments, right? Like
like no, like 1/3 of a second's too much. It needs to be like 0.1275.
So ultimately, Bookworm Adventures was a pretty big success. Like that did well in terms of in PopCap terms at the time.
Yeah.
And is it true that you your reward for doing so well with that was to get to work on Robo Dojo? Right? Is that or was that right after that? Did you do something between Robo Dojo and Bookworm?
No, that was after Bookworm was Zuma 2.
Yeah, I worked on Zuma with Ben Lyon. Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Ben Lyon worked on that one. And Walter. Did you guys ever talk about the couch? Not that we would talk about that now, but
I might have talked about the couch.
Okay, just making sure you got to it at some point in this episode.
Yeah, there'll be a time where we tell a lot of Wally
stories. We'll circle
stories.
back another time.
Yeah, we need to have
save that for later.
What the hell are you talking about? What couch? Let's just do it now. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Go couch.
Let's just
so one
peel
time,
the Band-Aid off on this couch story.
All right. There was a time Wally called me up and he was like, "Hey, I need some help moving this couch from my house into the artist area," because he and Marcy, some other folks, were in this art area, and he wanted to put a wall between him and Marcy because they weren't really getting along, right?
Oh yeah.
And because there was some drama. I see Tysen feeling that drama because I know he had to deal with it back in the day.
That's right. You were art manager at the time.
And oh boy, yeah, no, I don't envy. But so I went up to Wally's with this guy Ethan, and we picked up this couch, and right away I noticed smeared across the end of it was just this big brown smear. I was like, God, Wally, it looks like dog shit or something. He's like, nah, it's just like chili or soup or something.
Chili?
And the whole time I'm like, why don't we take this in the office, and so we drive it all the way down to the office and put it in the elevator. And right as the doors open on the 8th floor, this big this couch in the elevator, he leans over and he says, "It's shit."
I did not.
And then we hauled this shit smeared couch into the office and set it up where we wanted.
Couch?
Yeah, the shit couch, and then so we put the smear and kind of toward the wall so people wouldn't see it.
Where's the shit couch?
But just so that Wally knew it was there. I think that was his own way of like, have you ever seen the comedy skit about ass pennies?
Yes.
Yes,
I
Aspen.
think that was Wally's version of that. It's like
Yeah.
he knew that he owned you because he had the shit smear on the end of the couch,
Oh,
and he's like nobody else knows this is there. This is like that's Wally's version of ass
I
pennies.
guess
think.
you should feel very honored that he welcomed you into that like select club that
That's
knew that it was
select
shit.
club.
Yeah.
Oh, I got calls from him at like 3 a.m. when he was super high on medication, where he was just ranting about stuff, and yeah, I got a crazy end of Wally for a while
Wow.
there.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ooh,
good
that's
stuff. But anyway, that's the couch. That's the
All
couch
right.
Yeah,
story.
it's the poop
But so,
couch.
because now I remember Bookworm Adventures was quite a big deal, right? I mean, I think Peggle had come out, and so that was kind of like, woo, Peggle is like a, it rivals
Yeah, Peggle's.
Bejeweled as
Yeah.
far as like PopCap is really putting itself on the map with, as Ace put it, like Peggle is like a new game, right?
Yeah.
It's
Peggle's
and
awesome.
then Bookworm Adventure was like, this is another thing where we are the AAA of the casual games biz, right? We are
We
putting
didn't
out
call it
like
that.
That was a
the
1-2 punch.
these like
Yeah.
high level games where now I don't know if you recall where it was like it was split into three games, or no, this is Bookworm Adventures 2 is got that treatment because Bookworm
Volume.
Adventures 1 just came out and
No.
was like it was
One
its own
thing.
game.
Yeah, it was one
But
thing.
then it was Bookworm Adventures 2 where it's like, okay, now we're gonna try to like release it
Like
each so the
episodic.
game, yeah, like the book had
Mhm.
3 books within it, and each book was broken down into chapters, and each book sort of had its own theme. So like the original Bookworm Adventures was like horror or no, Greek mythology,
Greek mythology. Yeah.
Scheherazade, I think, and
Yeah.
horror was the original Bookworm Adventures. Is that correct?
Yeah, because there was a Dracula in there. Then
Like
there was the
yeah.
Cyclops.
There was
And then there
yeah,
was
classic
Medusa.
monsters, kind of, yeah.
And
Right.
then the second Bookworm Adventures was sort of nursery rhymes and fairy tales, and
Right.
then Chinese
Yeah,
mythology,
there's
and
Wukong was a
then
good one.
like the Monkey King, and then sci-fi, right?
Right,
Uh,
with like 1984 kind of nods, and yeah,
Did
yeah.
you do the art for all of those, Tyson?
a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's
you
a
did
lot.
most of
There's
it.
a lot going on there.
Because you would more or less, because I remember now Bookworm Adventures being mostly Carl and I think Anthony
He did
Okay.
it
kind
too.
of running the show on that for the most
I think
part.
I was the souk beer for that team at that
Mhm.
point. Like I was like yeah, it was largely
Mhm.
them in their own room, kind of grinding on that. Yeah.
And see, like for the original Bookworm Adventures, you had sort of worked out the plot, and you were the main I mean, I was writing all the little flavor text and the bubbles, but the basic story of like, oh, Cassandra has been kidnapped by Dracula and blah blah blah, all that stuff. That was you, right? I didn't have anything to do with that, other than creating Codex as the sort of rug pull Scooby Doo surprise villain at the end.
Yeah.
But then for Bookworm Adventures 2, it was all on me to go like, okay, now I've got to figure out the entirety. Like I think I was given those 3 genres,
Hmm.
but then everything else was like, okay, so you go off and come back with like not only like the overarching story of the entire thing, but down to the details of like, okay, each chapter has like these 5 enemies, and so it's
Hmm.
like, the first one's going to be like a dish and spoon, and Cal jumped over the moon, and the moon,
Right.
and all that kind of stuff, right?
Him
The next one's
himself,
going to
yeah.
be Old McDonald, so here's like the
Yes.
Old McDonald, blah blah blah, and so on. And then yeah, like you guys had sort of moved on, like you were I guess the way you describe it is you were sort of superior that project, but you weren't directly
Right.
designing it, right? Like you
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
handed it off
That's my
to a
best.
junior
Yeah, I don't know
team
if I
kind of
really was
thing.
doing what Super was doing, but yeah, I was kind of moonlighting with that, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I was, yeah. Can you
Well, so
help
then
them
what
reach
were
this
you
success?
guys doing sort of post Bookworm Adventures?
I don't really know. We did. I think there was we had sometimes like long periods of like working on games that just never went anywhere. That we would
Yeah.
just like start and then kind of quickly terminate.
That counts as stuff that you were doing, even if the games never
Right.
came out.
Launch.
But they didn't really ever have like formal names. It'd be like Game 7 in
Well,
my
but
CBS
I mean, like,
directory.
but Isaac was bringing it up because, like, Robo Dojo was something that at least that had a name, and I mean, we
Mhm.
were talking. I mean, and Matt had strong feelings about that game and wanted it to go,
Me
and it
too.
was
We
like a
all
good
did,
run
yeah.
It
for a
looked
while.
really good. That
The
looked
game
like
was
a game ready
fucking
to go.
awesome. I love
Yeah.
that game. I love the like mechanic of just like grabbing onto the ledge and pulling yourself up. I remember I was like super excited about like figuring out the matrix rotation map to get that stupid thing to work. But that was like when we were using Brian's awesome pop anim framework, and it was like
That's
So,
right.
you did
so
so much
then
cool
what?
stuff.
So what
Yeah.
happened with Robo Dojo? Like, what
We
was?
just took too long on it. I think we worked on it for like 2.5 years, 3 years.
Yeah,
We worked on it for a long time.
it was a
I
long
think we
time.
just didn't have a full direction. I
It
don't
was-
know.
it
It was our
yeah,
first time with
'cause
an
it's also a new
Xbox too.
platform, and it's also
Yeah.
new controls. We're using a
Right.
controller, and we're on the Xbox.
It was the first Xbox.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like learning that we would have had in front of us too. Learning curve to even create the game and
And
understand
I
like what it
guess
feels like. We were so
Well,
close
then
to the field, but now we have to have
yeah.
a new way of like interacting with the game. Some excuses, I guess, but and also
yeah.
like we were, yeah, it was.
I think we also it just like became too
It was
big
right.
too. Like the idea, like I think it just like became something that would have taken too much work to do.
I think so. Like, oh, let's do something as big and fun as Bookworm Adventures,
Right.
but it's a platformer and it's an action game and it's on a new platform. Yeah, literally on a new platform as well. We probably for our first foray to like a new platform like that or new controls, we probably should have done something a little smaller.
I guess because at
Well,
this
that's when we
point
had the Shanghai office too, right? The Shanghai office was doing background art for us at one point, right before we canceled it. Because that's when we were starting to be like, it's going to be this gigantic thing. And then that's when we're like, well, we'll just have like 20 more people draw backgrounds. And it was
Well,
like,
it seems like the first game that we'd done too, where it wasn't like at the end of a week everybody plays a build. It was over on an Xbox, and we didn't really have a way to like spread it around the studio
put up on
and get
Burrito
feedback.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of developed in isolation to a certain degree. I don't, or was it? Did you guys find a way to?
No, you could play it on the PC. I mean, because it was DirectX, and that was like the whole benefit of developing for the Xbox was that like
you need a controller.
it was easy for the PC. It was a lot easier to like make a game for the PC and the Xbox because it was DirectX.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it over there, but I remember I hardly ever got to play it. And I was like, oh, I want to play that game. Like,
yeah,
I have a PC build of it.
Really?
Probably.
Yeah,
I'd love to see some footage. That'd be awesome.
I'll have to get the right Visual Studio compiler.
Oh, right. Easier said than done, huh?
Miss VC 2000.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and also I guess it was a bit later, and I guess this would have been would this have been pre
this was pretty
buyout, I think.
Yeah.
Still.
We had like
and so
Dave Roberts was there at the time.
Right.
Dave Roberts was there.
But like by this time, like Plants vs. Zombies would have come out, I think. So that was sort of like what PopCap looked like now was like, oh wow, Plants vs. Zombies is even though Plants vs. Zombies, again, we have to kind of remind people was not a giant hit out of the gate at all. I mean,
took a bit,
the original game was like a PC download the way that we did all these games, but it wasn't until we started putting it in all these different platforms that it really kind of took off. But then like I guess Robo Dojo would have been sort of a departure from this casual game idea. It's like, well, no, this is supposed to be a kick-ass arcade game, right? Like it's supposed to be fast and snappy and not necessarily something your mom's gonna pick up and play, right? It's not relaxing.
You could play you would just like play with your friend though, just like local on the couch, 2 people, and then the screen would zoom out to accommodate the, one.
And if your mom's your friend, then your mom's playing it. So.
Exactly.
I mean, would you say that something like maybe Shovel Knight kind of eventually is sort of a version of what that kind of thing you were trying to accomplish was? Maybe a little like the idea.
I don't think we knew what we were doing.
Yeah. It was just like okay, we like the combo of like that kind of brawlery, but also platform.
I think we just kept adding fun mechanics, right? Because we had like at a certain point we added like a PvP arena. I think that was just because you and I wanted to just like attack each other. It's like you're like we like jump around and would like kill each other.
We've worked together too long.
I think we just kept adding mechanics.
Just make the PvP arena and we should have just made that game.
We should have just released that. Yeah.
Then Smash Brothers, right?
So like, would you then like if you were pitching this, you're like, we're working on this game, it's called Robo Dojo, and it goes like, oh, okay, what's cool about it? Why should I play it?
I like
what would you say? Sorry?
What?
I like the climbing. I just keep in my head the picture in my head is of jumping onto a ledge and pulling yourself up and climb. Because I remember I had to spend so long on figuring out the math for it and stuff. I was just like, so in my head, I was like the most excited about holding onto things and pulling myself up. That's what I enjoyed the most.
If that was your elevator pitch, I can see that maybe it was.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't in marketing.
Yeah, okay.
that's the only reason.
And then mine would have been, well, Robo Dojo, right? There's robots that
robots
are also
and dojos.
ninjas. and then you like do cool robot ninja stuff, right?
Right.
Okay.
I do recall that we
like
registered
that,
a
yes.
we registered
But I
like
mean,
a copyright or trademark for the name, and then like I think Kotaku or someone discovered like, oh, PopCap files for trademark for Robo Dojo, and we were like, little do they know this game's not coming out, right? It's just like,
but I mean, and then
Cool
that
article.
could be the sort of thing where like that's enough to go, well, let's just create a kind of a prototype playground for ourselves and go like, well, we know that we like the robots and the martial arts and we like the climbing, the platforming, so let's just start building and just look for the fun, right? Like try to find that fun, which seems like a very reasonable way for like a small team to just embark
It
on
is.
attempting to come up with a game, right? Like
but you need like some kind of direction though, you know.
Yeah,
You need some kind of point. Like it took us forever to even come up with like a story for the game. I think we settled on something ridiculous, like it was like GOSHA, the Galactic Occupational Health and Safety Organization, right? And it was like they're like shut you down because it was like this place wasn't GOSHA compliant. That was our story. We were literally just like, I got the idea, I think, because I saw the OSHA board in the lunchroom.
That's hilarious.
Well,
and I was like, oh,
that's a good
Galactic
reminder for a segue. So how about Allied Star Police?
There we
oh
go.
man, that game was
what else
fun.
Did we do between there? Yeah,
I love that game.
After.
So tell us
God,
the
that game was
story
great.
of Allied Star Police. What was that all about?
That was with Matt Johnson and Kirk. Yeah. The clapper, Kirk Scott.
Kirk Scott. He used to work with a guy named Kirk Scott, and he would just
The loudest
all the time and as loud as hell. It didn't matter when or where.
I felt like when I tell stories about PopCap, that was one of the ones I love talking about. I feel like really lucky that we got to do that because it was
and Johnson did a bunch of sound for that too. It was fun.
It was a Make-A-Wish Foundation game for a kid that really always wanted to make their own game or design their own game, right?
Yeah, it was. I forgot how old he was. He was pretty young.
So this was this kid's idea for a game.
Well, essentially, to think about like
we had to
we had our pitches, but think of a kid pitching a game, right? It was even more just like like more of the setting, and I can imagine there will be upgrades because I like upgrades,
right?
Before, and with a lot of more like elements of like mechanics of a game and a theme for a game, but not really what is this game. So that was kind of on Jeff and I and some of the other people on the team to kind of come up with the actual gameplay, where it was kind of in those lanes.
He made a PowerPoint for that. I remember it was very detailed. He had a whole PowerPoint presentation. I was so proud of him. It was this PowerPoint presentation this kid made.
Because everything awesome. But that core sort of layout mechanic was there. He had the name. He had like the ASP part of it. It was like,
he was very proud of the ASP part. It's like ASP, Allied Star Police.
It's got to be a snake logo.
Yes, he definitely had the brand locked. Like that was solid.
Heck yeah. And it's
it.
So fun to work with him, and then also I remember the party that PopCap threw for him. This big old pizza party for all and then all his friends got to come out, and he got an iPad with that game on it, and just you stand somewhat near him and just watch him show people, all his friends, this game that he got to make.
Yeah.
Oh man. I still have it on an iPad that doesn't even move.
Oh, nice.
That's easily one of the coolest things that PopCap did.
That game there was also years in my first time making an iPhone game.
That's true.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And from then on, I think we only did iOS stuff.
So I've seen it recently, and I'm trying to remember if I had a build of it that works on PC.
I don't.
Or if I just maybe I watched a YouTube video.
I don't know if it ever did work on PC.
I mean, but I know that I've looked at it relatively recently, like since we started doing this podcast. So there's footage of it out there somewhere.
How do you do it then?
Yeah.
Okay. Writing it
I don't know. I haven't played it in so long. Oh, man. I don't have a phone.
Yeah, thanks.
How long did you spend on that? Was that like a 6-month thing?
That one had a pretty hard deadline.
I guess.
That one had a it was like, we're not going to spend 7 years on this game.
Yeah.
It was like, can we please put this out in less than a year? I think was the mandate.
Literally before the kid dies of cancer.
Right. Like, could we please, before his 85th birthday, release the game? Right. So it was only like 6 months, which was good because it meant like that the design didn't wander. It was
I
just like,
almost regret
no,
asking that
just take
question
Rome.
now, but yeah.
You set him up right there for that joke. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely drew a box around it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's such a fun game. God,
Well,
Yeah, that game is long, dude.
so yeah, Notley, Steven, do you remember? Of course you remember. That, what's that? Got your text. I heard in my head you screaming.
well, I mean, it's been something of a running gag here on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
The PopCast is that I always try to end the show with one of these, yeah, PopCap. Except Zoom will cut it off because it's too loud.
Too loud.
So I have to I've been trying okay, I'll go way back and do it this
Muffle
way.
your microphone. But like a sock over
Trying
it.
different things.
So these days it's sort of like the last time was just like PopCap, yeah.
There you go.
Just the antithesis of all the energy that you
so
there.
weird. I don't like it. It feels unnatural.
That's what it's become after all of our aging, I guess.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
like
totally. It's about a whimper
Okay.
now. Everyone's like, PopCap who? Oh, the Plants vs. Zombies game. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's
Well,
like one out of
it is. It's such a
fucking 2 dozen
crazy
games.
thing. So then, Bookworm Heroes, as I recall, that was more or less the last big project that you guys were involved in before you eventually left. So now it seems like that should have worked. As I recall, this was right around the time when Words with Friends was huge, and it was like we've already got this cool brand that's associated with word games, and it was super playable. I played it. I played the shit out of it. So and yet it didn't go the distance, and so now so first tell us a bit about how that sort of spun up and then I guess spun down again. What's the story of Bookworm Heroes from your point of view?
We've kind of already started, explaining it. I think it was definitely one of those Words with Friends. Holy crap, this game is fun. Everyone's playing it. Kind of thing, all ages, and so that definitely rekindled. I mean, at least for me, hey, bookworm stuff. Should the bookworm version of this? And with a lot of things, as we've said earlier, that also, it came from other voices. Jason and even I think Super was down for doing the Bookworm Heroes. So it made sense. Let's try it. And I think. As Jeff was mentioning earlier, that we just had made Allied Star Police, so I think we had a little bit of the idea that we were going to make another mobile thing.
Yeah,
so
multiplayer sounded fun too. Yeah, and I think the multiplayer, the idea of it being turn-based, was
right,
a nice kind of dip your toe in the water to something multiplayer. Not real time.
Yeah.
Right, asynchronous, right? I would do my turn
Super
and
slow.
then send it over to you, and then you would, and then each player. So rather than it being Lex, now is that how it worked? If it was always, now how did it work?
You would take a turn and then submit your word.
Yeah, submit your word, and you would select a hero,
Yes.
and you would see yourself as your hero, and you'd see your enemy as their hero. So frequently it would be the same hero, kind of, because there weren't a ton of heroes at the time.
No.
And it was fun. I remember, and I think I mentioned this at some point in one of the other podcasts, but one of the real tricky parts about doing PvP word games, especially that Boggle style, is that the cheating aspect is almost impossible to remove, right? Once you if it's asynchronous, if you're not sitting there timed, you can always just take your letters, plug it into a Scrabble dictionary, and just get the best word, right? So
yeah, you could choose to be an asshole, or you could just play the game.
But have you ever met a modern PvP player, Jeff?
Wow, it wasn't like playing with randos. It was like playing with your mom. It was I don't know. I mean,
that was part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could invite friends, not just
exactly. It wasn't like play words with randos, right? It was
words with randos,
words with strangers, right? It was
wildly
doesn't have the same
unpopular
appeal.
game.
So, I mean,
randos.
if I had been asked, well, why do you think that game never really came out? I would have guessed, well, maybe it probably had something to do with that unsolvable cheating problem. But I'm guessing that's not what your answer would be to why that game never released.
To be honest, I don't know, because it went on after we left.
It did.
So it wasn't like when we were there, it disappeared, right? So it was still active when we were there.
People took it over. Yeah, I
think, wasn't Ben, Line, and Anthony on that?
I think so. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah. It was even released for a short period.
I don't remember, but yeah, it was a ways before that happened. So I don't know.
I would say, in remembering making that game and working on it, that there wasn't the opportunity to kind of go on the adventure part. Even though it was Bookworm Adventures with friends,
Right.
like I think there was would have needed a lot more. I think maybe some progression. Maybe you can like level up somehow, but how do you also do that and have it be fair?
Yeah.
Some parts of Bookworm Adventures that we couldn't get in the game.
Yeah, I
Very
guess that makes sense, right? I mean, because then you end up on sort of the content treadmill and if it's not just player versus player and that is the entirety of the gameplay and it's like an arena, which of course was a mode in the original Bookworm Adventures,
Mhm.
but if it's like, well, if we're going to try to push this narrative or this story, that really does complicate it a lot. And also sort of then opens the scope up enormously to, and now it's like, well, how are we going to do this? And how much extra stuff do we have to make? And like, how do we integrate this PvP thing into something that also involves like, I guess, fighting monsters or
Yeah.
whatever. So I could see why that could be like a path. I mean, we had Eric Tams on last week and we talked to him. We spent a lot of time talking to him about Prince of Toys and how Pop War became Prince of Toys and how that was this whole education about how a game that starts off seeming really solid can just kind of inch by inch end up in the ditch, basically,
Yeah.
right? Even though
That game was
every
great.
iteration seems justified,
Mhm.
you could just end up somewhere that doesn't work anymore with no clear path back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we did that a bunch.
That's sure.
So,
Yeah.
okay, well,
I think also that was as Jeff kind of mentioned also, that the game was in progress when we decided to leave too. So
right.
that's
What,
Well,
and,
so
and what
let's-
was
let's-
that experience like? What did get you to the point where you're like, I think it's time to split?
And was it a thing that you both more or less decided to do at the same time, or what?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, we talked about it.
We roped Qbert into it. Qbert is who we consulted for advice. So some might say that's not the right person, but I love Qbert. So
but of
Yeah.
course, this was post EA
he's an
buyout.
adult.
So everybody kind of had so like after the buyout, there was an incentive to stick around for a little while because if you had unvested shares and stuff, you would want to make sure those vested. But and I think there was like John and Jason and Brian were all like, oh yeah, we're not going anywhere. Like we're excited about like PopCap and the new EA era, blah blah blah. But I think there was a lot of people where it's like, okay, as soon as my shit vests, I'm taking the money and getting out, which I don't fault anyone for, right? I stayed because I didn't have anywhere better to go, basically. But I guess so. But then, what made you decide to make that choice to move on?
Yeah, well, I guess for one thing, I guess this whole story kind of adds up to what, like how 11, 12 years there?
I guess
Yeah.
so. Yeah. I mean, it's a
11 and a
long
half
run.
years.
Long,
Was it 11?
wonderful, amazing, grateful for this run, but also was the first game company I'd worked for. And
It was the first company we worked for post college, actually, right?
Yeah,
Both
exactly.
of us.
And it was
It was our first job.
yeah.
It was our first fucking job after college. It was so weird.
So it was just definitely this sort of moment where like, holy crap, what do we do next? Started becoming a question that I definitely was asking myself, and that I felt like like PopCap was this giant success to me. Like I felt like all these different things I got to learn, like at PopCap U and for this fairy tale ending and so there was that some of that element of like just this feeling of like not going out on top necessarily, but like a wow.
It was bittersweet too.
You did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did it. Yeah.
It was like rough, but it was like needed. And it was. I realized also like I'm just not into games anymore. Like I just don't like making video games.
There was also a lot of we're doing this for a long time. Period.
Yeah.
So it's time for new
And
things.
and certainly to spend as long as that in one place is very unusual in the video game business, at least as
much. Yeah.
I observe, right? Like in my observations of the business sort of going on around me, it was very common that someone, especially in those latter days of PopCap, people would come in from somewhere else, be there for 2 to 4 years, and then bounce and get a better job, the better
we were like
money elsewhere.
Wasn't that when we were like 500 people or so in size though too? Like including our
crazy.
different offices or something. Like we were huge at that point,
Yeah, whereas when we were hired, I think you and I were number 6 and 7 or 5 or 6 somewhere in there.
I think I remember seeing that I was 8. So you would have been 7 because Josh was there, Raptus was there,
Ace was there, I think.
Ace. Then you got the founders. No, Wally wasn't there.
Oh, isn't that
he was pretty early though. He was there with that IT guy, whatever his name was. He had some weird pie thing that he would bring in.
There's
A
Hans.
lot. It looked like
Hans,
it's bean
Dave.
paste. That's what I remember. Hans. Oh my god, I love Hans. Hans, Dave.
Absolutely.
Hans and Dave. We will
Hans
pop
and
you
Dave.
up. We are Hans and Dave. I love Hans
Well,
and
because
Dave.
there's a bunch of folks that are kind of invisible. I mean, this is sort of a thing for me and Isaac to kind of dig into more, is to try to pull out some of these folks like Hans, like
Chris Hargrove. Shout out to Chris Hargrove.
Well, yeah, like folks who weren't necessarily hands-on to the games, but like fulfilled other key roles.
Chris Hargrove was like a key pillar, man.
He was a lot later, though. He came in quite a bit later.
Yeah, but he was a solid hire, man. He was
absolutely.
one of the smartest guys
Smart as
one of the
hell.
smartest guys I think I've ever met. But he was like brilliant at just explaining stuff to you very easily. You'd be like, oh, okay. He would like take a very complicated problem and he'd just describe it very easily. It was like brilliant. So he wasn't just smart, he just knew how to actually speak to people.
Totally.
So, well, let me then let's split it up, because I know you guys sort of took different paths once you left PopCap. So, Tysen, you moved on and just went on to another company in games, right? You moved to Rovio, is that right? Or no, or Riot? Sorry, Riot.
Yeah, let's just shortcut to Riot Games. Yeah, I ended up at Riot Games for a while, working on a game called League of Legends and stuff.
Maybe you've heheard of it, folks.
Yeah, maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah,
No big deal.
I think we were playing
tiny little game company.
People we were playing it at PopCap. I think John had found it and
decided, yeah, John was the one that found it.
Yeah, so I kind of learned.
That game was so good. Holy shit. I mean, it's still there, but
still exists. Like, yeah, it's just getting stupid.
I'm so bad at it now, though. Like, I want to play it, but I'm like, I'm gonna be the worst teammate. I'm gonna be the guy who steals everyone. I'm like, why is this even a thing? Like, why can't I just kill the thing and we all get the fuck?
I don't have reflexes anymore.
I don't care. Let's just share the XP and just make it a brawler, right? It's like, that's not how it is, Jeff. It's not.
Yeah. So you did lead, but you say you're not on League and you're not at Riot anymore, then, Tysen?
No longer. So yes, the Riot Games was about just under 4 years I was there. I actually had a hookup from my buddy. Another buddy that I met in college. He's not a close friend like Jeff, but he was at Riot. And also I think Carl Quo had gone there.
Carl went down there, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that Thomas? You're talking about Thomas Vu? Thomas Vu? I met him in college. Yeah, he was cool. I met him in college.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Anyway, so
we're all at UCSD together. It's weird.
UCSD, exactly. San Diego, which is
San Diego, Spanish for
so he hooked me up and pulled me over, and he was actually trying to pull me like for years before I'd left PopCap. Actually, he was trying to get me.
Yeah, remember that? Like,
so wait, so then you went to Riot and you worked on League, but then what did you do after that?
I was there, and then I did a couple, like a lot of nothing, like unemployment. Pre-retirement. I actually helped a couple times with some consulting with some of Carl's startups. He did a couple startups. He's still doing one right now. And then finally, I just decided, hey, maybe I could make a game of my own. So I got out Unity and taught myself C#, really poorly. And
you're fucking brilliant at it. That game you put out, like I was like impressed that you actually coded that. I was like, holy shit! I knew you
check that out.
Thank you.
I knew you knew how to program.
What's it called?
Crap. It's it's a nod. It's called Chrono Dojo.
Chrono Dojo. So
no relation to Robo Dojo.
No. There's not platforming in it or anything.
Zero.
Jeff hasn't played it, and he didn't.
I've never seen it. Yeah. I don't follow
so basically,
it. No.
I joined forces with my sister and just kind of at our own speed. Chrono Dojo was in a way like my first game for her, literally, and then for me was like how to make game without having the entire support system of like a PopCap or a Jeff doing everything for you, or Riot Games. And so I've been kind of just halfway hobby, halfway treating it real, making
cool.
Awesome.
And
Is it on
so
Steam?
Then Jeff, what have you been up to since for the last 15 years or whatever?
Summarize.
Oh, Jesus. We'll skip a lot of it because I don't want to tell it on the air. But this period of
just fun. Sadism and just
no
light serial killing.
Yeah, some light attempted murder. It's fine. I got off. We're good.
Now pants on for the first time in like 5 years.
I did like 6 months or so with remember Joe McDonough?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like 6 months with
wow.
him, Drop Forge for like a
right,
quick
right.
rapid prototype with
That's right.
Michael oh my god, Guillory. Yes,
Oh,
Guillory
yeah.
was there.
Yep.
And Franzi. Franzi was there.
David Franzi, yeah.
And the Franzinator and
Good crew.
Darren Gordon. He was the
Also
Right?
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he was awesome. Like it was those guys. It was a lot. It was actually a surprising amount of fun.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, I worked on that was the last time I ever worked on games.
No, it isn't, because you worked on Space Otter Charlie.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, I
I
lied.
sat next to you working on it.
Yes, you're right. So I worked on this like financial app with a longtime family friend of mine, Melanie Smith. We worked on it for like a year. Didn't go anywhere, but like that was the first time I messed around with cloud computing and that sort of thing. And that's when I was like, oh, I really like this stuff. So I've basically just been nerding out doing a bunch of cloud computing stuff for a while. But then recently I just got extremely into AI related programming. I've built a pretty decent harness for myself, but it's like, I've got, I don't even know how to describe like really what I'm building, but essentially I've got like, I have this library I'm going to open source soon. I'm trying to finish up with some bugs or whatever, but it's like an event sourcing kernel. It's basically, do you guys all remember the old PopCap replay system, the PopCap framework, how like we had the ability where like if you had bugs, you could send in your file and we would be able to replay it.
Yeah.
QA would be able to like replay your file and and you could like find where the crash happened.
Huh. No,
So-
I never knew about that.
Yeah,
but
was it a Lua
It was
file or
like-
something like that?
No, it was just like a binary file. It was
Okay.
fucking brilliant. As a programmer, it was magical because like, you would get a crash and then you guys probably didn't even know because we made it so that it would automatically upload the file to our server.
Rings a bell. Yeah.
But we would just take the replay file and then you reset the random number generator to the same seed, and we had a deterministic event system. So every input you made was recorded, right? Every mouse movement, every keyboard pressed, even if it was an errant key, was recorded. So every event and every input that you could imagine was basically recorded in this file. And so I basically modeled it after that because I needed something similar for my AI agents to keep them from fucking going psycho and doing something they're not supposed to, keep them on task. And so basically I've built something to the point where now I actually have building right now 3 different Claude Fable agents building 3 different things. One is my financial terminal, one is this open source thingy, and one is this memory system that I'm building for AI things too. But it's like, they've been running for 3 days by themselves without me having to like steer them and shit. It's like basically the self-reinforcing loop where
And you've got like a window into what they're doing. You can check in on them.
yeah, and they like when there's a bug, it like auto writes tests for them, repeats repeats the bug, fixes it, retests again to verify that clears it, unsets it, does the thing like, and then so it's a self-reinforcing loop. And you basically, with the different things I have, like I have some prompt injection stuff that I do, and it just like always reinforces an instruction to the AI every turn, right? So it'd be like, remember, don't be an idiot this turn. It goes, oh, right, I shouldn't be an idiot. Remember, don't be an idiot this turn. It's like, oh yeah, I shouldn't be an idiot. So basically you do it like that. This is what I'm saying. So I don't really know how to explain the point of it. All I know is I'm using it to make money. I built like a financial trading terminal.
Okay.
I have, like,
Wow.
So
this, like,
I'm trying to
whole-
listen, and it doesn't sound like Doomsday that you're creating. It just sounds like you're going to make money.
Yeah.
It basically parses a bunch of macroeconomic data and stuff and auto figures out. It's weird. It's working so far. That's pretty damn cool.
Unleashes a horde of
I'm
robot
low.
dogs on the nearby
Yes.
neighborhoods.
And I see my
that's
lights
a good way to
auto-
get money, actually.
Auto turned off on me if everyone's wondering why it's dark in here now.
That's
Well, I
the
was
AI.
wondering if maybe the one of your AI agents like seized control of your Zoom camera and decided
Right.
It was listening. Yeah.
The mic.
First makes the room dark, then everything else goes
But
dark.
that's what I'm working on now. And honestly, I'm like really close to open sourcing this thing,
That's cool.
which is cool because like somebody doesn't exist yet, and it actually fulfills a need for me that happened to be based on something super fucking old that we did at PopCap that Brian Feet came up with. And I remember thinking like, this thing was so awesome. This ability to just like debug anything, because like someone would be like, it crashed. And you'd be like, well, how did it crash? And people would be like, I don't know, man. It just fucking stopped, right? Like no one ever tells you exactly, right? Like it's like no one's paying it that close attention. So to be able to just be like, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to tell me why it crashed. Just leave the computer on, it uploads it to the server. You get that file. It's in a whole event state. You just basically go, oh yeah, you replay it like frame by frame, essentially. So that's
why Brian
that's like the trickiest bugs, man.
One of the brilliant minds at PopCap was Brian Feet. He's definitely like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain.
Brian is, he's a fucking genius, man. Oh man,
we'll have to really Isaac and I have yet to really broach the subject of, do we think we can get any of the
You won't get him. I talked to him still, but you're not. I don't think I mean, you can ask him, but I don't think he wants to.
I
don't think he wants to be in the public. Mean, it's
not like Jason is shy about doing interviews, but I can imagine why he might not want to do this. And we haven't asked John. I mean, I would give John at least a 25% chance of at least considering.
Yeah, I think John would do it if he wanted to. Yeah, I just think I think Brian's maybe just a little.
I think if we make up enough weird shit about him that totally isn't true, they're going to want to come on and correct all of it.
I don't think Brian.
I think that might be weird.
I don't think Brian really cares if his reputation is.
The time Brian rode an elephant into the office and it destroyed everything. That was crazy.
We did have some. Okay. I'll tell you one good Brian story though. There was Tyson. Do you remember this GDC with the salsa guy? I don't remember his name. We just call him Salsa Guy. He wouldn't stop talking about how much he liked going to salsa dancing.
Salsa dancing. Okay.
Yes, we called him Salsa Guy for short. Yeah, the Salsa Guy. But that was the same GDC where. It was you, me, Brian, Justin Boggs, and I don't remember who else. Oh, I won't say his name because he'd kill me if I mentioned his name in a recorded format.
I know exactly you all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, so we were in our hotel room suite, and we decided to climb out on the balcony of the hotel because it was a flat roof.
Okay.
Remember this? So we climbed out. And we're trying to be like silent, like ninjas and stuff, but we were not. We were like really loud. And no, we're not. And there was a guy in his suite just like chilling in his bathrobe with a bottle of wine. And we're like, okay, time to go back. And we just like turned around. And as we're going back inside, I remember I fell and I just like slammed my shin into the windowsill. And I just went like face down into the floor. It was like, that was fine. We were in good spirits. It's cool.
We were in good spirits. Yes.
We were in good spirits. Yeah. That you must surely remember the Heineken bottle.
I think I remember that.
Brian Feet in the Heineken bottle.
Yes, and what he did.
Yeah, we won't talk about what Brian Feet did.
But he had to go to the emergency room.
No, nothing sexual.
I didn't say that.
In case you were going there.
It was something far darker and more horrifying.
No. Let your imagination.
Far more sinister as the lights are off in my room here.
Yeah. In a world with a
dark and stormy evening.
Okay, so
there was a Heineken bottle.
So Isaac and I mean, we started this podcast kind of with a very, sort of rose-colored view of like, oh man, those PopCap days were so cool, and we really want to go back to them and remember them and reflect on how they affected our lives and so on. Like, what I get the sense that you guys maybe don't quite have that same level of like starry-eyed feelings about PopCap, but let's just but how what would you say is sort of your takeaway from your PopCap experience?
I'd say it was like some of my greatest experiences.
Yeah, quite the contrary. Yeah,
it's absolutely. Yeah, it's like some of my fondest memories, man. That's like where I learned so much shit that like, even though I'm not making games anymore, it still has so much fucking application in everything. Like it's that like, between like Jason and John and Brian, like beating into your head, like the need for attention to detail, right? And the focus on, like customer attention and how you have like maybe 5 seconds when they first open your app, like all these like little things like that you don't think about, but just are like required to capture someone's attention long enough that they're going to eventually want to give you money to waste more of their fucking time on these 20-something-year-olds' idiotic idea of a fun time, right? And it's like, that's what you need to figure out how to do. And it's like, that applies to so much that isn't even games. It doesn't even have to be software. It's like, it's an eye for detail in things in general. I mean, I think that's kind of what we ultimately looked for in who we hired, was people that could look for things like that in their own unique way.
Yeah, and Tyson, would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I said it before, but I didn't think I was going to be able to get into games. I just thought they were awesome things I got to play with.
Yeah.
I would maybe make websites, and make money that way. But instead, I got to go to PopCap and learn how to make games there. Like make them with friends and make new friends. And like
Yeah.
Jeff said, it was
Made some of my best
a
friends,
lot of
man.
success and learned so much. Like it. Yeah, PopCap.
Yeah.
Well,
It
it
was
sounds
awesome.
like it pushed you in the direction of even learning how to code too. Like, you enjoy the game making process.
My
wanna
little
keep making
boy's growing
games.
up.
I want to
My
keep
little
doing it.
boy.
Yeah.
Like I fell in love with it, PopCap. So not gonna stop.
Nice.
So I think we're getting close to the end.
Okay.
Isaac, is there anything else you wanna grill these gents on?
Gosh, not so much. I think we covered everything that's fit for the viewers to see.
Good.
Fit for viewers. That's safe.
I would like to put it out there to the public that Tyson. I miss playing foosball with you, and you were one of those who partook in the vicious battle.
Foosball champion. I was so
I miss
bad
it every
at that
day.
game.
I haven't played
Yep.
foosball in like a decade now, which
I refuse to play that
You would
Neither
game.
have
destroy
I.
me, but maybe not. Maybe not.
I mean, I was
I'm
never
so bad.
the level of skill that you guys were, but I remember throwing
Maybe
in
I remember
abilities there, and
that thing was so fucking sweaty and gross, man, that like the fucking handle would just be so gross and nasty, right? Like you get up to that machine and you just be like, it'd be like a dog just like slobbered on the fucking handle and shit, and you just like,
No, that's just
I didn't
Tyson.
like it, man.
That's not
I
my
wasn't
memory of
into it.
the PopCap foosball.
That's my
'cause,
memory of the
because
foosball
I
table.
mean, we had like a nice foosball table
the
when you
best
would go to
tornado.
like other bars and so on that had foosball
Mhm.
tables. You go like, oh, these are gross. Well, not gross.
You like the
they're just-
slippery,
they're just
slippery,
not-
slobbery
They're
handles?
just not good. They
Yeah,
don't have any
crap.
action on the handles, and the guys are just sort of too small. You can't get a grip on the ball. Like it's like you go to some
can't
random
grip the
bar and
ball
play
well enough.
foosball. It's like you can't even trap the ball because the little men aren't shaped right. I mean, so you
They
think
don't
you're not
care
even
about
playing
How
foosball.
dare
foosball.
they?
But we
Right.
did.
It's a fucking travesty.
Yeah.
It's a fucking-
End of the world shit.
hilarious.
Okay, well, and on that, I guess we are going to conclude this fantastic pair of episodes. Going to break this in two. This is the second half that you're listening to now, but this has been... Ooh, there it comes. There it is. Lex.
It reminds me of the videos of Kermit the Frog doing like video
Yes.
chats with people. I don't know if you've seen them, but anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Like it was
So, this has been yet another episode of the unofficial PopCap PopCast. PopCap! Yeah! PopCap!
Just imagine him screaming that, folks. Sweat pushing out of his forehead.
I miss it.
You gotta do it.
All right, and
Boink.